morning. Welcome. Welcome
Good
to
morning.
103.5 WNHH. I'm Babs Rolls-Ivy, and we're celebrating a great give, getting people ready, revved up. And so my 9:30 guest is it Katie?
It is
Yeah.
Katie. Thank you.
Katie Poole from Mazzaro Community Farm. And where is the community farm, Katie?
The community farm is on the outskirts of New Haven. We're about 15 minutes from downtown on the border, literally the border of Woodbridge and Ansonia.
Oh, I don't know this farm. I sit on the board of Common Ground. Do you know Common Ground High School?
Of course we do.
I know you do. All the good farming people know Common Ground. So
all the good farming people know each other.
That's right. So tell me a little bit about what y'all do and what are you up to and what are you raising money for? And if you have a poem or a song or a talent, be prepared to show off.
I wish I had the nerve to carry a tune online, but I'm going to skip that. I'll definitely read a poem. Mazzaro Community Farm used to be a family dairy farm for almost 100 years. And when the last farmer passed away without any children to leave the property to, the property went to the town of Woodbridge, and a group of residents got together. Interestingly enough, during the last financial crisis, 2007, 2008, with an idea to resuscitate this as a working farm, but not a dairy farm, a mixed vegetable farm that follows the CSA model, which is community supported agriculture. For those of you not familiar with that, it just means people buy in for the season and then come throughout the summer and fall and get their weekly share of produce.
And it's a lot.
It's a lot, yes. We began that process. The farming under the new auspices and the new sort of arrangement beginning in 2010. So we're very excited. This year is actually going to be our 11th season here on the farm. But even more important than that, we're really happy to be part of the community as a nonprofit agency. So this farm was organized and set up in its current iteration to be a community space and give back. So there are many events that happen here that we host, that others host, that take place here. Biggest part of what we do is that, among the thousands and thousands of pounds that we grow every year of all different kinds of vegetables, we donate 10% back to the community. And that's not just when there's extras, it's every week throughout the season. And that can be anywhere between 6,000 and 10,000 pounds of food. So it's a big part of what we do here.
So, there's this big, Katie, there's this big movement, and I guess this has been building. I mean, there are people who've always been doing this, but there's this big movement of people wanting to know where their food comes from. And the more local it is, the better it is, the less, the closer it is to you, the better off it is for you. So, have you seen the uptick in people wanting to see farming at this level, to participate in farming at this level, to support what you do?
Yeah, I don't think that this farm could have succeeded at another point in time. We certainly came in right at the sort of beginning swell, the wave, so to speak, of the farm to table movement. And I think thanks to the fantastic farm management of Steve Munno, we have a really high quality operation here. And we've become known in the restaurant community for delivering great produce to restaurants, great partnerships among other farms, and just capitalizing on the methodology that was often lost during the commercial agricultural movement of really trying to leave the land in a better way than you found it. So instead of stripping it, really adding back into it. And we definitely were able to take advantage of that over the last 10 years. But of course, as you guys were just talking about with Will, like these are unprecedented times. And not only have we seen the support of this over the 10 years, but we've seen it in the last 6 weeks, which has really been incredible. Like people are in our small state are turning to farms to, alleviate the stress of going into a supermarket, sure, but they want to know that their food is coming from a safe place. They want to make sure that those businesses are going to be around when things start to open again. They want to keep those employees off of unemployment. And it's just been a tremendous outpouring from the community.
So Katie, talk about some of the programs that y'all do over there that the community, the listening community may not know and may want to make a donation because they believe in what you do just by virtue of you being here today.
Yes. So as I first mentioned, we do make a big part of our giving back to the community, the food donation, and we've partnered with a number of agencies. We have some ongoing relationships, and then others that will just do at their request for special events. Some of those partners have been Fish in Greater New Haven. Many of them are on this list here, also fundraising this today and yesterday. The Salvation Army, the Valley United Way, Team in the Valley, Columbus House. So there's many organizations that get our produce. Separate from that, we do a lot of education here on the farm. That's a lot of early childhood and elementary education, where we get many students, particularly from high needs and high districts and schools where kids don't often get a chance to get out beyond their own backyard if they have one, or get out into a garden, and have them come here to the farm and really understand what it means when you pull a carrot out of the ground and where food comes from. I mean, you wouldn't believe the looks on some of these kids' faces that, you know, when they point at a chicken and ask you, where are the nuggets? But we also do a lot of
city kids.
We do a lot of adult education and young farmer education. So Connecticut is one of the states that's seen a growth in new young farmers in the last 10 to 12 years.
Well, I'm friends with Raven, who does Love Fed, Raven and all those folks, and you know, young black woman and her cohorts out there talking about returning to the land and farming. And so this fits right in with what you're talking about.
Yeah, there are many people who, you know, farming kind of skipped a generation or two, and people think that it, you know, it's funny how people arrive here and they automatically assume that those of us that are working here grew up on farms, and most of this, that's not the case. We, you know, came from families that were white collar parents and had a variety of different jobs, but people return to this because they love it, because they're passionate about it. And they have a variety of different training backgrounds too. We've got English majors, music majors, philosophy majors, business majors, people who are completely set out to do something else and end up here on the farm.
So Katie, are you the executive director? What is your role over there at Mazzaro Community Farm?
Yes, so I am the executive director. I joined in 2012, and not long after the farm manager was hired, and he and I really co-manage this operation. So obviously a big part of what we do here means that the farming operation has to be successful for food donations, for education. So Steve is an integral part of what happens here, and just making sure that the property stays safe and is well managed. And my role is really to work closely with him and make sure that we're not only protecting the farm operation, but using the space in a way where the community can enjoy it. So there's picnicking, there's a trail. As I said, there's other events that happen here that are like seedling sales and maypoles and farm to table dinners and all those things that we want to be doing again right now. So my role is really to make sure that we are, fiscally sound, operating on a day-to-day basis, and making sure that all those programs come off without a hitch.
Mm-hmm. So is this a year-round farm? Do you do stuff all year round? As best you can.
We do. There really is no time off for farmers. I would say the first few years Steve and I were here, we definitely had some quiet, more restful periods during the winter months, but we've actually grown the operation here, and sort of like victims of our own success. We've been able to, as many farms have, make use of these long plastic enclosures that people often think are greenhouses, but they're basically just a covering, so it allows the farmer to grow small crops over the winter that he otherwise wouldn't be able to do in New England. And even though it's much, much smaller scale, because we're not doing all of the fields, I would say that we're growing for the public about 9 to 10 months out of the year. And then we do have that sort of slow period where we're planning and forecasting and getting ready for the next season, but there are still a small amount of items growing under those high tunnels.
Mm-hmm. Now, do y'all have a set amount, Katie, of what y'all want to raise that you want your folks to give? Did you set that bar, or you just whatever you get, you're grateful?
We do a couple of things. So we're aiming for a number of donors, and this is our power hour right now between 9 and 10 a.m. this morning. Okay. We are not only seeking to get 100 donors to unlock some very generous foundation matches, one from our King family, and one from the Worth Family Foundation, but we're also seeking to get some additional matching funds from the Liberty Bank Foundation. So this is our Power Hour. Make a small donation. It's not the total dollars, but it's, I mean, our individual goal is 10,000, and I think we're getting close. So I appreciate all of those who have given so far, but it's really to help us secure those additional matching funds as well, unlocking some matching funds from the Liberty Bank Foundation, which is a Valley gift, because a lot of the outreach that we do here, we literally sit on the line of Woodbridge and Ansonia. We used to, half the farm used to be across the street in Ansonia. So we feel like we have a responsibility to really serve that community. And the Valley gets very underserved. So we're happy to provide education, food, outreach, lots of partnership and health initiatives with a number of organizations.
So how many people come through there yearly? Do you track those numbers?
We do track those numbers. So we've got our CSA subscribers, other people who come to the farm for events, people who come for education, people who come to volunteer. And I would say all told, we're getting 5,000 to 6,000 a year. And we've seen that double in the last few years with some of the events and the growth of education here on the farm.
Mm-hmm. And so the people that buy into the CSAs, give me a profile of what those folks might look like.
What they look like? I mean, it's really a mixture. We definitely have customers from right nearby in the neighborhood that's Ansonia. Some people come from Hamden and Orange because they've heard about us or maybe seen us with a table at the farmer's market and feel like they like it well enough that they want to make sure that they're getting their share every week. I would say about half of our subscribers are probably from New Haven proper. And these are a mixture. It's people from, couples who sort of have the time and attention and maybe extra dollars to really allocate towards getting certified organic produce every week. But it's also families who want to make sure that they're, trying to make sure their dollars stay in their food dollars stay in their community, and they want to make sure their kids are getting healthy food. And this is like local farming is one of the biggest individual actions people can have a direct impact on in climate change. And I know that's really important to a lot of people right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so you all can educate people on how to sort of do that and
yes,
and participate in that.
Yes. I mean, it's, keeping a local food system going is, reducing your carbon footprint. It's improving the air quality. I mean, we've all seen those images on the news of like how the air quality is improved since none of us have been driving.
Katie, the animals are taking back the earth.
The animals are taking back the earth. Yes, for sure. It's, utilizing rain systems, putting nutrients back into the earth. Just the some of the top 20 items on this on climate impact that you can make have to do with growing food.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's the part of the show where you get to do your poem if you have one, or whatever you have.
Yeah. So I do have a poem. It's actually an excerpt from a poem because it's quite a long one. For farmers out there, they're going to recognize this because this is a poem called The Farm by Wendell Berry, and he is a philosopher, lifelong farmer, multi-generational farmer, and poet. For those of you who don't know Wendell Berry, I encourage you to go and look him up. He really is an incredible human being, and still working his family's land in Kentucky at the age of 80 something. So again, this is an excerpt from The Farm. As the fields dry, complete your plowing. You must do this as early as you can. Then disc and drag the furrows, and now the past must come to serve the future. Dung and straw from the barn floor you carry to the fields, load after load until the barns are clean, the cropland all covered with manure. In early May, prepare the ground, plant the peas, and now you are committed. Wait for the seed to sprout, the green shoots tightly rolled, to show above the ground as risen from the grave. Then you must cultivate to keep them free of weeds until they have grown tall and can defend themselves. Where you grew kale last year, sow buckwheat. Let it seed, then disc it in and grow a second crop to disc in. This is for humus and to keep out the weeds. It is a Sabbath for the land, rest and enrichment, good for it, for you, for all the ones who are unborn. The land must have its rest, or take it when we starve. The ground is mellow now, friable and porous, rich. Mid-August is the time to sow this field in clover and grass, to cut for hay, in 2 years, pasture a while, and then return again to kale. But don't neglect your garden. Household economy makes family and land an independent state. Never buy at a store what you can grow or find at home. This is the rule of liberty, also of neighborhood. Never buy far off what you can buy near home. As early as you can, plant peas, onions, and greens, potatoes, radishes, cabbage, and cauliflower, lettuce, carrots, and beets, things that will stand the frost. Then as the weather warms, plant squashes, corn, and beans. This is not work for hire. By this expenditure, you make yourself a place. You make yourself a way for love to reach the ground. In its ambition and its greed, its violence, the world is turned against this possibility, and yet the world survives by the survival of this kindly working love.
Thank you so much. All right, so before I let you go, one last pitch to folks who are listening. And
yes, folks who are listening, please. Today and every day throughout the year, if you can't do it right now, but if you go back to work later, as a nonprofit, we welcome both donations and volunteers throughout the year at Massaro Community Farm. But if you can, please give a pledge. Again, we're not aiming for a specific dollar amount, but a unique number of donors to get matching funds during this power hour between now and 10 a.m. And even if you have multiple email addresses, you can give multiple times. So please do that, and please continue supporting the work we're doing for hopefully another 10 and another 100 years here at Massaro.
Thank you so much, Katie Poole.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, and best of luck to the Massaro.
Best of luck to all the other organizations raising money. It's still great to hear there's such a great outpouring of response in the community.
Yes, thank God. Thank God. So thank you so much. Enjoy your day. And I may come out there and see you on the farm sometime.
Please do. Please do.
Thank you. Thank you,
all
Harry.
Right, take care.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. So I believe I've got somebody else up coming for the great give. Yay. We are way past $2 million right now. So I believe Eve McGrath from Milestones is up next. So Harry, are we taking a break in between these? Or are we pushing right through?
We're going to take a break, quick break.
Okay. All right. Shut me down. I'll be back.